It's not quite all doom and gloom down at West Ham these days, despite the many inherent issues at the club and an ongoing relegation battle. We've all heard about the problems countless times, so we figured it was time for a little positivity. Hence, here's 5 reasons why it's a good time to be a supporter of West Ham United, still the greatest football team in the world. The team which beat Southampton 3-1 last weekend had one of the youngest average ages of any West Ham first team to appear in the Premier League for some considerable time at 26.5, with 6 players aged 25 or under. And even though his transfer policy has been heavily criticised, credit must largely go to Manuel Pellegrini for this. The former manager, who was sacked at the end of 2019, introduced the likes of Issa Diop, 23, Pablo Fornals, 24, and Sebastian Haller, 25, to the team while transforming Declan Rice at 21 from being a central defender to a midfield regular, since when he has become a regular fixture in Gareth Southgate's England team. David Moyes has continued Pelly's work with the purchase of Jared Bowen at 23 and Thomas Souček, 25, whilst making Jeremy Ngakia at 19 the latest graduate from the club's Chadwell Heath Academy. With Grady Diangana set to rejoin the ranks next season upon his return from West Bromwich Albion, there is much promise in this West Ham squad. Should the club remain in the Premier League and heed the mistakes of seasons past by holding on to its best young players. Monday night's 4-0 thrashing of Norwich City in Dagenham by Dimitri Haliko's under-23s means the young Hammers are tantalisingly close to being crowned champions of PL2 Division 2. Having suffered relegation from the top tier last season, West Ham are in line for an immediate return and could yet do it without losing a single league game, having won 14 and drawn the remaining 4 of their 18 outings so far during the current campaign. Although they are being pushed all the way by Manchester United, whose sole defeat this season came against West Ham back in January, West Ham know that 3 wins from their final 4 matches should be enough to guarantee the title, given their superior goal difference. And the youngsters are still in line for a potential double, with a Premier League International Cup quarter-final against PL2 Division 1 side Derby on the horizon. West Ham's homegrown winger is spending the season on loan in the Championship, with title-chasing West Bromwich Albion under the expert tutelage of Slaven Bilic. And the 21-year-old has thus far enjoyed a thoroughly productive campaign in the Football League, where he has scored 5 times in 22 appearances, provided countless assists and produced a string of breathtaking moments of individual skill. It may not be immediately evident given some of the performances in his opening matches, but David Moyes has already improved West Ham's form since replacing Manuel Pellegrini as the club's manager, especially in terms of goals scored and conceded. And that is, of course, failing to take into account that Moyes had faced a far more difficult sequence of fixtures than his predecessor, including playing Manchester City and Liverpool twice, prior to the Chilean's departure at the end of last year. Additionally, for the first 8 of those 11 matches, the current manager's entire coaching team consisted of just Moyes and assistant Alan Irvine. His backroom team has since been boosted by the arrival of England coach Paul Nevin and former West Ham skipper Kevin Nolan, who was constantly at Moyes' side during Saturday's vital win against Southampton, making suggestions and offering his input. The Hammers emerged from the bottom 3 as a consequence of defeating Southampton at the Olympic Stadium last weekend, and it should not be underestimated how much of a psychological boost this will be to Moyes and his squad. Having navigated a very tricky sequence of fixtures, including games against the Premier League's top 3 in recent weeks, the Hammers know that 4 wins from their remaining 10 league matches this season should be enough to secure Premier League survival. And with fixtures against 4 of the 6 teams also entrenched in the battle to avoid relegation to come, 2 at home, 2 away, plus home games against Burnley, Wolves and Chelsea, who West Ham have already beaten this season, the club's prospects of avoiding the drop suddenly look far more promising than they did even 7 days ago.